first period leadership, and this is Ryder.
Retract. Everybody know that I'm a rough rider on the beat. I be like a tidal wave, but yeah, by the way, hope you follow in the right away. And I'm minus on the sheet. Walk up in the room and everybody sit down. Schooling everybody in the heart of this town. Green and white is the PAHS. Color with a fight is the PA they best. Got the minor blues, we got brighter views, and together it is Ryder news. I be like a lighter when I get up in the booth. If you try to strike me, fire is the move. And advisory is where you're watching. All the eyes can see a reporter talking. All up in the big screen when I go into the class where you run the big things every day, and that's a wrap.
Good morning, Rough Riders. We are halfway through October and Halloween is right around the corner. But here at Ryder News, we are braving the cold climate and darkening days to bring you the latest news happening around the Port Angeles High School campus and surrounding community. So far this school year, we had covered news from sports to school clubs, leadership events to new staff on campus, classes to protests, and we aren't even close to being done. Anything and everything that affects you students is a fair game for our news teams, and we are pulling out all the stops this week to give you an informative and entertaining show. It's Wednesday, October 13th, and I'm Shayla. Towards the beginning of this school year, we covered a story featuring the protest against vaccine mandates that took place at our very own Clallam County Courthouse. During this news segment, we listened to concerned citizens and restaurant owners around town to see how our community has been impacted. Now we are bringing you this follow-up segment where our news team sits down with Clallam County and Jefferson County Health Officer Dr. Allison Berry, who shares the health and safety facts behind the mandate, reflects on the protests in Port Angeles, and discusses additional measures that will help keep students and staff safe at our school. Let's watch.
In some cases, we actually have seen some businesses see an improvement in their bottom line because more people feel safe coming out. We talk a lot about the folks who are unvaccinated who are not coming out anymore, but there's a lot of folks who are vaccinated who have been staying away. And so we've heard from several bars in particular that they actually have a lot more clientele now than they did before. What we said when we put the order in is that when we see case rates get back into the moderate range for 2 weeks, which is less than 75 cases per 100,000, then we would get rid of the mandate. Right now it's really, really high. So we've started to see our case rates come down. They're 1,100 cases per 100,000, down from 1,200 cases per 100,000, but that's way above 75. And so if we can get those rates of transmission down, then we can get things more back to normal. I would say I very strongly support people's right to protest. I exercise it myself in my private life, not as your health officer. But there was some good and bad among the protests. I think there was folks who were just trying to speak out, speak their mind. And then there was some also pretty bad examples of poor behavior from some adults that really didn't show a good example to the kids that were watching. I think one thing that is probably important to get across is public officials are people. I get a ton of email, and I actually try to read most of it. If you want to convince a public official to do something differently, there are good and bad ways to do that. So if I get an email and it's all full of, swear words, they're mostly aimed at women, I'm not going to read that email. But if I get an email that says, hey, actually, I've gotten some of my best emails are from Port Angeles high school students who say, hey, I want to stay in school. This is important to me. I don't agree with X that you did, but here's another idea of what we could do. Those kind of more compelling arguments, if you tell your own personal story, if you talk about data, that's going to be so much more compelling than some of the stuff that we saw go on around the courthouse. There is an enforcement mechanism, and it has started for some places. I'd say the vast majority of our restaurant and bars are actually following the rules, but there are some that aren't. So the first thing that happens is you get a call from someone in my department. We have an environmental health department that makes sure people are following the food code and washing their hands and things like that. So first thing that happens is they call the business owner and say, hey, we've had some reports that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. If we can get them on board from there, that just stops. But if we don't, and then 72 hours pass by, then we go do another inspection. If they're still not following the rules, then we revoke their food permit and we revoke their alcohol permit, and they have to close. I think it is unlikely that I personally will require that, but I think it's very likely that it will be required at the state level. One of the things that you probably know right now is that you have to be vaccinated against a bunch of things to go to school right now. The strongest mandate is for MMR, the measles vaccine. I'd say it's likely that we're going to see a requirement for COVID-19 vaccine to be in school. We just know it's so contagious, and it's really important that we do what we can to get society back on track. And unfortunately, we're not seeing enough kids get vaccinated. So I'd say the number one thing you could do as a kid right now to keep school open is to get vaccinated if you haven't been. But if you are already vaccinated, in either way, wearing that mask actually makes a huge difference.
A very special thank you to Dr. Allison Berry for taking the time to speak with us, and to our own Paul Kelly, who helped us put the interview together. It is important to understand that the protocols put in place here at Port Angeles High School are for our safety and help to ensure that the school can stay open throughout this whole year. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected so many programs here on campus, but we continue to champion on and forge the way forward. This is certainly true for our orchestra program under the direction of Mr. Nathan Rodahl. Orchestra students have sacrificed so much, including field trips and live performance opportunities, but they still remain dedicated to their passion and are keeping up their skills for the day when restrictions are lifted and everyone can hear their art once more. Let's take a moment to hear from the orchestra program and what they are up to right now.
Hi, I'm Adam Weller. I'm in chamber orchestra. I play the violin, and I love playing violin because it's something that you can always get better at, and you can never be perfect, and it's always a challenge.
I love chamber because the group of people is really fun, and I get to play music with all my friends.
Hi there, I'm Mr. Rodahl. I'm the orchestra teacher here at the high school. One of the things I'm really excited about this year is finally getting to Carnegie Hall. We're hoping to plan a little different timing so that last year's seniors might be able to join us.
I love Mr. Rodahl because he gives us lots of new interesting pieces, which challenges my violin skills.
Mr. Rodahl does a good job of keeping things casual and flexible and just overall pretty chill in class.
Keep up the great work. I can't wait to hear our orchestra perform live again. Hopefully it isn't too far away. Music can help shape the culture and atmosphere on our campus, but you don't need to play an instrument to help create a welcoming and safe environment for all students here at PAHS. Our Ryder's crew, can lead by Mr. Logan and Mr. Gooding, have historically been a huge part of the movement. In the past, they have given the freshman tours, participate in the Ryder Rush and Homecoming, and are focused on the Rough Rider culture year-round. They've recently been on somewhat of a hiatus due to the pandemic, but this is changing and they are gearing up again for greatness. Our news team caught up with Mr. Logan and Mr. Gooding and asked them about the group coming back into force on campus. Check out what they have to say.
So this is Adam right here. This is Jason Gooding, Mr. Gooding, and Adam Logan, Mr. Logan. We're the Ryder crew member leaders, and the Ryder crew is the crew to call upon when you want something done around this place. So I'm here to discuss how Ryder crew benefits our program, and we're about inclusion in our schools. We're about building community. We're about building a team of people who know what we're all about. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Logan here to discuss a few things.
All right, so what do we do? The main purpose of Ryder Crew is to welcome in the freshmen into the high school. We know that's the toughest year of high school, is that freshman year. So Ryder Crew's job is to welcome them in to what Mr. Gooding likes to say, the Ryder team. Also, we have concluded that Ryder Crew is the crew you call upon to get something done. So we're looking for students here at this high school who want to be welcoming, who want to be inclusive, and who want to get something done. So if you're curious how to get involved, listen up to Mr. Gooding.
So the month of October is our recruitment month. We're hoping to recruit as many people as possible to this wonderful group. And we're looking for juniors and seniors from most of the advisories, at least 2 from each advisory group, to make sure that we can pair you up with advisories from the freshman class and show them around and what the Ryder Way is all about here. This is a great place to work, it's a great place to live, and this is our community, and we're all part of this community. So if you like it or not, we're all Rough Riders here. So be involved, get part of the team, get part of the crew. It'll be fun, I promise you.
Thanks Mr. Logan and Mr. Gooding for updating us on Ryder Crew. Remember, October is recruitment month for Ryder Crew, so make sure to reach out if you are interested in getting involved. Now, more than ever, it seems like school climate and culture should be at the forefront of our thoughts. Make sure to be kind and respectful to all staff and students on campus. It's the Ryder Way. They say showing respect is a sign of character, so let's show our respect to the new Ruffy Award winner for the week. You spent last week grabbing your selfies with Mrs. Bennett in room 303. Now stay tuned for Ruffy's next hangout. We will return again next week for the latest news from the PAHS campus. Until then, thank you for tuning in to Ryder News.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Bennett, and I have been so excited to have Ruffy this week, but it's time for him to move on. I would like him to go to our amazing, amazing cafeteria staff.
Hi, thank you for nominating me, Mrs. Bennett. I get the honor of having a selfie with Ruffy. We're here in the cafeteria at the high school. Please come get your selfie with Ruffy.